There was that portion in the road, one side was deep cut off and the other side was a huge hole. I didn't know if the vehicle would make it past. Hi and welcome back. My plan for today was to drive across to Lepakshi Temple, which is situated 112 kilometers away in Andhra Pradesh. So the route seems fairly straightforward. I'm going past the airport toll and straight past towards Hyderabad, and then we'll have to take a turn somewhere after more than 1.5 hours. I'm stopping for a quick breakfast at Nandi Upachar. That was a quick breakfast stop. I had a dosa. I wouldn't call it tasty. So on the way I stopped off at Gudibande Fort, and as a result I'm taking this alternative route from Gudibande Fort to Lepakshi Temple, which is not how we would usually come, and this is quite a scenic route. So this goes past a lake called Vatadahosahalli Lake, and it's turning out to be extremely picturesque and fun to drive along when suddenly there was a huge crater-like thing on the road which appeared to be a bridge, and below was a dry stream, and I wasn't sure if the car would pass in between, or whether I'd have to drive over the hole, and that is quite risky. But luckily for me, there was another car that came from the other side. That was kind of risky. There was that portion in the road, one side was was a deep cut off and a fall, and the other side was a huge hole, and I didn't know if the vehicle would make it past. Luckily I saw the other car coming from the other side, and he seemed to drive past quite carelessly. So yeah, I'm here at the side. Now, although this road was quite scenic till now, it's now going through some village, and yeah, it continues to be scenic, but completely deserted. I don't think much traffic goes through here. The road is getting a bit rough here. I think we are about to kind of join the main road here now. We're not going to hit the highway. It looks like this road goes straight and reaches the Lepakshi main temple. Okay, looks like we've reached, you can see up there, that is the Jatayu Statue. As per legend, Jatayu, the bird king, tried to rescue Sita from Ravana and got injured and fell here, and was discovered by Rama, who told him to Lepakshi, which means rise bird, and that's how Lepakshi got its name. We're going to try and head up there, which is the Jatayu statue. There seems to be some structure over there that looks quite old. Looks like there is a staircase going up, but it's currently locked. There are some monkeys sleeping.
So it looks like the statue over there is blocked off. There's no access to that. But there is a small temple-like structure here.
I tried doing a little bit of research to find out what this structure was, but I had no information anywhere. So if you know anything about this structure, please do leave a comment.
That's the Jatayu Statue at the back. And you can see the Lepakshi Temple there. We're going to try and head up there to the main temple.
Now Lepakshi has 3 entrances, and I was able to park near the northern entrance, which is the main entrance. But you can also enter from the eastern entrance. This temple is called the Veerabhadra Temple, and Virabhadra is supposed to be a manifestation of Shiva. And this temple was originally installed by the sage Agastya, and later it was renovated and built up to what it is today.
So behind me is the Lepakshi Temple main entrance, and I'm trying to go and get in there to the main entrance. You have to leave your footwear outside. Ticket is it?
Entrance free and Archana emergency ticket is for.
As soon as you enter the temple, you step into a kind of a courtyard, and this courtyard is lined with an open veranda, a covered veranda with stone pillars that are carved out of granite. Just before you step into the temple, there are a set of standalone pillars here. One of it seems recent, and the other one seems like there was a prior pillar existing in the location. You have to go past this to step into the main temple, but the entrance actually leads you to the second part of the temple, which is a huge hallway, and this hallway has hundreds of pillars that are quite intricately carved, and a central portion here which contains a carved dome, and which is quite vacant. So the pillars here are supposed to have a huge variety of carvings, and these are all carved from granite into slim pillars. And the carvings are supposed to include things like Shiva and his 14 avatars, and other saints, some of Brahma, some of Parvati, some of just horses and soldiers, and musicians, dancers, etc. And so I think probably they just try to fit in as much as possible, whatever they could into the designs of the pillars. Perhaps the most famous feature of this temple is this hanging pillar, which supposedly doesn't touch the ground. I had to actually go back in the second time to find where this pillar was, but it's quite amazing, and it's supposed to be hanging off the roof or hanging in the air supposedly. And a British officer once tried to discover its secret, and as a result, it is now touching on one corner on the floor. Another unique attraction of this place is that the rooftop in this hall is covered with murals and paintings depicting stories from the mythological past, as well as stories of or scenes of the builders who built this temple. The third level of the temple is the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is constructed slightly raised. Photography and videography are not allowed inside this, but I did step inside, and it's quite amazing with detailed carvings. And there's supposed to be a cave inside where the sage Agastya first had the temple.
So behind me is the main temple complex, and as the story goes, this was constructed by two brothers who were governors in the Vijayanagara kingdom, and they go by the names Veerabhadra Nayak and Verandah. And apparently they built this temple for the king using the treasury, the money from the treasury, while the king was away. And when the king returned, he kind of found that the treasury was empty, and he asked that one of the brothers be blinded. And I think it was Verandah who blinded himself. And there's supposed to be two splashes of blood somewhere in the temple, which kind of is supposed to represent his eyes, which are gouged out. But this is quite an amazing piece of architecture here, and is reminiscent of other Vijayanagara temples or even the Hoysala temples. They're very similar, and there's some continuity between these two, because the Hoysalas came first and the Vijayanagaras continued maintaining many of these temples.
As you step out into the courtyard and walk around the temple, you encounter this huge monolith, a big boulder of rock, and on the side of this is carved a Ganapati statue, and you come across these half unfinished or half finished carvings on the side. And when you walk around, you suddenly are faced with this massive Nagalinga. It's a 7-headed snake with 3 coils on which the Shivlinga is situated. And this is supposed to be one of the largest such monolithic carvings of a Shivlinga, of a Nagalinga ever. The story goes that this was carved in just 1 hour while the carvers waited for lunch to be prepared. But to me, that seems like just a story. This obviously required far more effort and is left unfinished for various other reasons. To me, the verandas surrounding the courtyard are just as equally impressive as a temple. And this large open space continues almost around the temple. And I keep wondering what these verandas were meant for. And I noticed that there were some references to meditation chambers being present somewhere along this veranda, but I couldn't spot it. There are some inscriptions in the veranda referring to some of the history of the temple.
So this is the Lepakshi temple, and I've just gone around once inside, and it's quite intricately carved, and it's full granite, it seems to be, as opposed to the Bengaluru temple that I visited, which was made out of soapstone. Massive pillars inside which have been carved entirely, like this one here, out of granite. Must have taken quite an effort, and also it was not quite complete because they ran out of funds to complete the entire temple complex. But architecturally, this is quite amazing what they've done, what they've built out here. There are many such temples all across Karnataka belonging to the Vijayanagara or Hoysala periods. Okay, so my battery kind of gave out towards the end of the temple. Nandi monolith statue. This is supposed to have been carved by just one single piece of rock. You can see here. And this is supposed to be one of the largest monolithic statues. And this is like right on the roadside. And you can see the Jatayu Statue is there. And I drove out from that side. So if you're coming from Bangalore, you will pass this as you're coming in. It's turned out to be really, really hot. I don't think this is a very good time to visit the temple. The outside is just boiling hot. To try and head here early in the morning before the sun is out. So yeah, now I'm going to try and head back. And this time I'll be taking the route which is the normal route to Bangalore. See you.